Many people have heard of the theologian named Martin Buber, who hated being called a theologian. It's not how he wanted people to think of him. But he was. He was a man who studied the relationship between human beings and God. And he was perhaps most famous for the idea of I-thou, that human beings bring God's presence into the world with how they relate to one another. The opposite is true as well, that we can push God's presence away from the earth. We can dispel holiness when human beings don't treat each other appropriately. I'm reminded of this idea, this notion of God in this week's Torah portion, Terumah, where the Israelites are instructed to begin the building of the tabernacle, the desert sanctuary. The story goes on to tell us that the reason this desert sanctuary is needed is because just as how God created the world for human beings to live in, here the Israelites need to create that sanctuary for God to live amongst them. And so if you think about it, literally, what these human beings, these Israelites were doing together would ultimately bring God's presence stronger into the world. Not that we truly think God was living in a tent, but that that's where they could feel God's presence because of what they achieved together. Imagine how much holiness we can identify in the world when two human beings come together to make something greater than themselves.